There are some things it's never too early to start talking about or planning ahead for. Remember, knowledge is not free. You got to pay attention. Let's talk Breeders' Cup.
Good morning. Paulie Tow Truck, Brooklyn, New York. I know John, PastTheWire.com, about 40 years now, and I can tell you something, nobody better than this man. After all, they call him the Pick Six King, PK6, not because he was Walmart's best shopper of the month, you know what I'm saying? Subscribe, the Breeders' Cup's coming up. PastTheWire.com, don't show up unarmed.
The Wire TV, your number one source for horse racing news and interviews, handicapping analysis, betting insights, and more. Pass the Wire TV covers the biggest races at the best tracks.
Garnet and Luis Saez to win the Belmont Stakes at Saratoga. The Grey Wizard is absolutely flying. Champagne won. The Grey Wizard. Oh, it's very close. Leave it to the judge.
Like, share, and subscribe to Pass the Wire TV. Nobody does it better. You're watching Pass the Wire TV.
Ciao tutti. Rapidly approaching. Breeders' Cup is coming. We're going to be ready. We're going to talk some Breeders' Cup today. Before we do that, I hope you are all paying attention to the Sure Bet Coffee auction that is coming up for the Bridge Sanctuary Ranch. It's coming up. I'm urging everybody to get involved. We want to help horses. It's what we do. It's what we support. Sure Bet Coffee's doing it, and we would love to see a lot of people get involved. So we're really hoping that people get involved and participate. And we've even got a couple of consolation prizes available if you bid on something and you don't get it. So cool stuff. Uh, you know, it's just a great cause, and why not do something that is for a great cause? So we want to help horses, and that's a surefire way to do it. So if you can get involved, check it out. Uh, and help some horses. We all owe them so much, and we all like to give back. So let's do it when we can. Uh, if you don't have a seat, and I don't know why not, but if you don't have a seat at the best Breeders' Cup seminar in the game yet, I have only one question: why? You are definitely going to want a seat at the absolute best Breeders' Cup seminar in the game, bar none. We are going to try and come out of the gate running, but more importantly, finish like the fastest car in the race. Things work out, we'll be shopping for Cartier diamonds. Nobody does it better. I say grab a spot. It's worth it. All right. What I want to do, the other day, Gio did a show about his early preparing for the Breeders' Cup. And the Kentucky Derby and Breeders' Cup are both races that a lot of us, well, the Breeders' Cup is more than one race, but a lot of us kind of start our preparations early, and it's a good idea, especially in the Breeders' Cup and the Kentucky Derby, because there's just so many contenders and so much to sort through. Uh, no, we don't handicap and form definitive opinions now, but we start our homework. And Gio did a nice video about how he starts his early preparation. So I'm going to quickly share some of the things I'm doing at this point. Uh, and then we're going to go through the races quickly uh, and just talk about a couple of contenders and pretenders and trends and things that we might see or not see. Obviously, nowhere near a full handicap. We don't even know who's running yet. We do have the advanced PPs, past performances, but so much is still yet to be decided about the running of these races. We will be out there for the Breeders' Cup. Amwager will be riding with them and bringing you all kinds of coverage and insight and wagering info and behind the scenes stuff and just stuff you're not going to really see anywhere else, because that is what we do and nobody does it better. So uh, you'll be able to follow and watch along. And we hope to see you all there. So now, uh, at this point, we watch these good horses run all year long. One of the things that I really like to do is take my own notes, and one of the reasons I love Formulator is Formulator allows me to take my own notes, save them for a particular horse, and they're always there with those horses' running lines for me to see. Uh, that's an invaluable tool for me because tracking trips. Those of you that are familiar with it, second set of eyes, mine. Uh, I trust my eyes more than anybody else's, and I trust my eyes more than any tool out there in the game. Uh, and I love betting my money on what I see and what I believe in and what I feel that I know. So, with that, I am taking a lot of notes that I will be reviewing when we actually, do our handicapping after, the fields are drawn and we know all that other information that we don't know now. So I'm taking notes. I'm watching a lot of replays. The replays lead back to taking more notes. It's always helpful, in my opinion, to watch replays after the fact, after the smoke clears and you're still standing, because you take out the adrenaline, the emotion, the feeling of your bets, and you can be more objective. So I always found that watching replays later, uh, and the more time after a race that goes by is a lot more helpful than watching them, right after the race and forgetting about them and taking your notes then. So I'll take notes then, but then I'll go back and watch and I'll edit them, add to them, whatever the case may be, and whatever the situation warrants. So we've got the PPs, we're perusing them, seeing little trends and stuff that jumps out that we'll get to in a minute, and we're watching replays and taking notes. That's what I'm doing. Gives me a little bit of a head start on uh, my handicap. And the other thing that I'm doing is I'm looking at pace, but we don't know the fields, we don't know the draws, we don't know a lot of that kind of stuff. So I'm looking at horses that are fast early, the first quarter, the first half mile consistently, especially at the distance in which they're going to be running and over the surface that they're going to be running. And I'm looking for horses that consistently, come home fast. Uh, and I'm kind of making my little asterisks next to those horses, because I always give horses that have pace advantages either early in a race or late in a race or both. Uh, a little bit of an upgrade, and likewise, flip side, horses that are not, I give a little bit of a downgrade. So that's a little, I don't want to say advanced, but a little, I don't even want to say high level, but a little above the, you know what the average player may be doing. And remember, we're all playing against each other at the end of the day. But on Breeders' Cup Day, it doesn't matter because the pools are so big, so we could always help one another. And I like helping people in this game at this point in my wagering career. Now, uh, I do think that the Classic should be the last race on the card. For television purposes, it's not. They've had to change that all around. I think that stinks, but nobody cares what I think about that, and they're going to go where what the money says. But in looking at well, before we get to the Classic, and we're going to start with the Classic. One thing I want to say, and this should really jump out at a lot of people because it certainly jumps out at me. But we know about the success that the Japanese horses have had in the Breeders' Cup. Okay, but man, these are how many horses, or these are the horses that are coming in from Japan this year. So they're riding that success hard. They're coming in with hype, with some runners, but some horses that, in my opinion, are going to be overhyped and overbet. And those of you that have been on the Past the Wire Breeders' Cup seminars in the past will remember that a couple of years ago I had said on one of the seminars, there's a couple of Japanese horses in here that look live. Eventually, they're going to start winning these big races all over the world. And they won that year, and I didn't bet on them. And I didn't bet on them. I went another way, and I lost a big bet, I want to say, with Dunbar Road, a huge hit at Del Mar, which happens to be where we're going again this year. I needed Dunbar Road for a huge hit, and I think a Japanese horse got me by a whisker. March Lorraine might have been the name of the horse, but I don't know. I don't remember. It's something I'd probably prefer to forget. So keep that in mind. A lot of Japanese horses coming. Don't just assume because they're Japanese horses that means they're going to win. And I would definitely watch the odds on them because I think some of them are going to be overbet. But that said, we'll get into the Classic. We're going to start with the Classic because Breeders' Cup and NBC kind of disrespected it and didn't make it the last anchor of the championship. They put it in the middle. So we're going to lead off with it and make it the lead off hitter because it is the Breeders' Cup Classic. And I'm going to start by saying it should have a $10-12 million purse. It doesn't. I saw some chatter on X, Twitter, whatever you want to call it, the other day, saying that they need to raise the races of these big older horse races to keep them racing longer. I don't know if that would work or not, but I've been saying that for years. The Breeders' Cup Classic should be on a par with the Saudi Cup, the Dubai World Cup, any of those races. If I was on the board of the Breeders' Cup or I was in charge of the Breeders' Cup, I would say, listen, the Breeders' Cup Classic should be the richest horse race in the world, bar none. But that's just me. And I think they can raise the money to do that if they put their minds to it. But again, nobody's listening. So we got Arthur's Ride, City of Troy, Krupe, Dermisota Kake, Factor Cheval, Fierceness, Forever Young, Highland Falls, Il Morocco, Mixto, Muth, Newgate next, Pyrenees, Seize de Grey, Senior Buscador, Sierra Leone, Skippy Longstocking, Subsanador is out. He was live, Tapit Trice, and Ushba Tesora. Looks like we're going to have 10, 12 heading to the gate. Some of these horses are cross-entered in other races. I will say this. A lot of people are gravitating to the Japanese horses, and a lot of people are knocking City of Troy and saying he's going to be the favorite. I don't think he's going to be the favorite. I think Fierceness is going to be the favorite, but I'm not at all knocking him, and I'm not at all deterred by him never having run on the dirt at all. I'm not saying, excuse me, that's where I'm going to land, but I respect that horse. He's run one bad race. who beat him, Notable Speech, who all of you know I was very, very high on since I first laid eyes on him. I said he's a Group 1 winner. Said the same thing about Los Angeles. And City of Troy, they say is better than all of them. Now, I will say this. Aiden O'Brien has said that they've never even let this horse run yet. You know, he's a Justified. He's going to stand at Coolmore. He's a Group 1 winner on the grass. They want that Group 1 on the dirt. And they want to stand him as what they're hoping to be a huge sire at Coolmore Island. Okay, now never let the horse run yet. He's been 75% and winning Group 1s easily. He trains on the synthetic, taking kickback, deliberately taking kickback. That exercise mock race workout that he did that a lot of people didn't like, I thought it was beautiful. I thought it was perfect. They put him behind horses. They put him between horses. I don't care what kind of horses they were. When he flung his reins at him, Ryan Moore, he just took off. But if they've never let that horse run yet, and he's running like that, their goal all along has been to let him go all out once, and that was going to be in the Breeders' Cup Classic, and that's their plan. And I respect it. I think they've stuck to it. I think they're bringing the horse up to the race perfectly. I don't think being a Justify and training on that synthetic, taking kickback, he's going to have any trouble handling the dirt at all. I think they sneakily know that and quietly know that. And I think he's a horse to be taken seriously, whatever his price is. And I don't think he's going to be the favorite. But to just, take the position, he's never been on the dirt and he's going to be the favorite. I don't like him. I don't subscribe to that thought process. By no means is it a one-horse race. Looks like it's going to have some pace. But what I do notice, Arthur's Ride, Fierceness, Dermis Sotokake, Forever Young, Mixed-Do. A lot of horses are coming in, what I would say fresh. Now, Senior Buscador is a horse that was kind of on my radar as a sneaky horse because I thought running him in the Pat O'Brien was real sneaky. That sprint should have set him up better for, I thought, the California Crown. He didn't really run that well in the California Crown, so he's kind of become a head scratcher to me. But I did think he was coming back to a big race, but maybe I was wrong. Maybe he, ran too hard early and can't come back, or maybe he'll go forward in the Breeders' Cup. We'll know more as we see him train. Tapit Trice looks like he could be getting good at the right time. The Japanese horses, I think, are all going to get money. Forever Young, I think, is going to be, for what I believe, an underlay. He ran that huge race in the Kentucky Derby, but we haven't seen Mystic Dan since, and Sierra Leone didn't win any of those races afterwards. Can Sierra Leone jump up and run a big race in the Classic? Looks like there's a lot of pace, and he does all year long. He's looked like he's got a big race with his name on it. Maybe it's the Classic. Chad's as good as anybody, bringing these horses around to run their best when he wants them to. So I think he's a dangerous horse, especially if there's as much pace as it looks like there could be. And Fierceness, a horse that I was not high on like everybody else was early in the year. Fierceness has, convinced me. A, he does not need the lead. B, he can get into a fight and gut it out and win if he has to, and sit off the pace. And he is a horse who also, coming in very, very fresh, and that might certainly play to his advantage. So Fierceness, I don't know, he's always been a little bit of a mystery to me, but he is a dangerous horse going into the Classic. Now we're going to look, hang on. We're just going through the PPs here, so bear with me. I want to have the PPs here in front of me when we're talking. We'll go second race. We'll go to the distaff. We lost to Dan Manor, who was going to be, a major contender. And now we have what looks to be a showdown between Idiomatic and Torpedo Anna. Uh, take your pick. Idiomatic, I thought I had figured out earlier in the year. I thought that her race at Monmouth was not that good. I thought that the race where I beat her with Raging Sea and made a nice hit with Raging Sea, okay, she's beatable. She lost a step. Then she comes back and wins easy. And now I say, you know what? Maybe Brad Cox was outfoxing us all and playing chess while we were playing checkers and just had this filly slowly getting better and better and better and, ready to crank up and run her best on the Breeders' Cup day looking for the repeat. So I'm not sure which way I'm gonna lean on that issue. But whether she is or isn't, she's gonna have to deal with Torpedo Anna, who is one hell of a 3-year-old filly. And we know what she did earlier in the year where she just dominated. But against the boys in the Travers, she certainly didn't dominate, but she ran all heart and guts. Um, at Parks, she did not get a good trip and just sucked it up and won anyway. Um, you got to take her seriously, but there are a couple of horses I think are coming to a big race in there. A couple of them are going to be big prices too, and they both come from the right bond to pull an upset. But I think that a cult is definitely going forward and sitting on a big race. And I also think that Raging Sea is really coming into her own. I know she had to work a little harder than some of us would have liked last time out, but I think she's coming into her own and is a really really good horse. And I think we may see her best uh, come that day. So I don't necessarily say that's a showdown between those two horses, and that would be a race in the multis, um, where if you could beat those two, not one, but if you could beat both Idiomatic and Torpedo Anna in a pick 4 or a pick 5 or a pick 6 or something like that, you should get paid because you did a nice job. You know, they're going to be two tough ones to beat, so keep that in mind. Uh, so that's some just early thoughts on the distaff. Uh, let's look at the dirt mile. And again, I apologize for having to move the PPs out of the way, uh, but I'd rather have them up than not. So, dirt mile. Let's look at the dirt mile. Who jumps out? Well, the good news is really nobody. Muth is cross-centered in there. National Treasure, I think, is going to wind up going in there. Prince of Monaco may go in there. We know that Stronghold that ran in the Pennsylvania Derby, he's going to go back in there, not in the Classic. Uh, the mile is a wide open race this year. You can get that's definitely a race to look for a price. And one horse that might be flying under the radar a little bit, but he got it done last year, and I wouldn't be surprised if he does it again this year. But Messier coming in very fresh off 2 wins for Rick Dutrow, uh, 2-turn mile at Del Mar. He's 1 for 1 at Del Mar. Very dangerous long shot in a very wide open race and should sit the right kind of trip. Uh, and that's one that is definitely on my radar, and I will be looking at long and hard come crunch time when we start really getting serious about this stuff. But mile looks wide open, so if you got a way that you're leaning in a mile, I say go for it because that's a race where I think you can get a price. And, on these days, there were some races where it's going to be a little bit more challenging to get a price. So, uh, the Philly Breeders' Cup sprint race, another very competitive race, lacks a very, very, heavy odds on, standout kind of horse, but you got Zeitlos, who was able to win with Big Race Jim Geo Big Guns and me all on his back, along with a lot of other people, and we still got 4-1 on him. Ways and Means has really come into her own. She's got Breeders' Cup Philly and Mare Sprint written all over her, the same way she had the test written all over her. Sweet Azteca, we know, is now not invincible like a lot of people thought she was. Uh, One Magic Philly is one nice filly. Another one very good under the radar. I liked her to beat Sweet Azteca last time, and she did. Tracking Trips. You guys all and gals all made a little bit of a score, I hope, with her. Hope Road has gotten very, very good for Mr. Baffert. So, another race where there's different ways to go, which we like. So the Breeders' Cup Filly and Mare Sprint, nobody's standing out over there. So there's different ways to go. Now let's look at the Filly and Mare Turf, which is always one of my favorite races on the card. And in our promotional video for the seminar, you will see Inspiral, who I told people on Tracking Trips and told friends of mine would win the Breeders' Cup in March, and come November, she did. So that was very, very satisfying. But this is a tough race this year. I mean, you got horses coming from all over the place, horses that finish fast, horses that just look great. I mean, Blue Stocking, the ARC winner, if she comes, look out. Cinderella's Dream, look out. Just really, Didier has been great all year. Emily Upjohn has not kind of delivered the race that John Gosden and Daddy Gosden think she's capable of, but they've been known to show up on these days and get the best out of their horses. Gina Romantica looks a cut below some of those European horses, but is better than ever. Just a lot of different ways that at a quick look you can go. Linda's Gift, McCulloch, Moira, just the list goes on. Opera Singer from Aidan O'Brien, Running Lion, just, so many ways to go. One long shot that I have been watching in France that's going to be completely overlooked is a filly by the name of Sparkling Plenty. She hasn't had the best trips. She hasn't had the best setups. And I do believe she's sitting on a big race. Now, it'd have to be a really big race to beat these horses. But she's a long shot that I've been watching in France, hoping she comes and thinking she's really coming around and really getting better at the right time. And she hasn't really been able to put it together and get the job done over there. So I do think she's going to be a big, big price. And I do think she could be sitting on a really big race. So we'll see what happens with her. But a lot of ways to go. And we love that in these races. Juvenile Fillies Turf. This is usually a great race to wager on. Well, in my opinion. Don't go by me, but all the Breeders' Cup races are great races to wager on. So I love those big pools, and I love the better horses. So this race, who jumps out? I don't know that anybody really jumps out in the filly division, but there's a whole bunch of horses that are coming. Virgin Colada is a Chad horse, an American horse that, I think is really, really good, and is one that is good enough to beat the Europeans when they come and try and gang up on us and show us that, they just have all the better horses. So that's one I would be watching against some of the Europeans. And, the ones that I know that are coming on the filly 2-year-old side, I I don't think I'm all that scared of any of them, to tell you the truth. So um, you may have a couple of pretenders on the European side there that may get overbet because people love to bet the Euros and they love to bet the Japanese, regardless of you know what they got in the tank or what they got to offer. So that could be something that is worth taking advantage of come race day. We don't know that, but we'll find out as we get closer to the race. But I tend to lean that that is a very, very realistic possibility. And I sorry for blanking out, like I said, but I'm bringing the past performances split screen, and I'm not doing it uh, as tech savvy as I should be to avoid the blackout. The Breeders' Cup Juvenile Fillies, again, we knew this race was going to be competitive, but I thought non-compliant um, Bob's filly by Tiz the Law looked absolutely killer, uh, killer winning the Oak Leaf. Uh, Tiz the Law filly out of a Street Sense mare handled that stretch out like it was a day at the beach. Uh, and she'll be heading to the beach to Del Mar for that race. And, she, to me, just looks like a really, really nice filly and might, I mean, I don't know, haven't done the race yet or the pace, but she might just be a standout in my opinion. But we'll see. And Bob wins these big races as much and as good as anybody. Uh, let's go to the juvenile, Breeders' Cup Juvenile. He did the fillies. Let's go to the juvenile. Right? East Avenue, a lot of people are high on him. The tracking trips people know that I liked him a lot last time to beat Ferocious. But he was the only speed over a speed friendly racetrack that day. So the Breeders' Cup is going to be a completely different story. I've been high on Chance McPatrick since actually before he ran. I had been led to believe he was a running son of a gun before he broke his maiden. He broke his maiden first time out. He won the Hopeful. He won the Champagne. He's yet to go 2 turns, and everybody thinks that Chad is after that Champagne and after the Hopeful was thinking about the Breeders' Cup with this horse. I didn't. I think he's thinking about the Kentucky Derby. And McKinsey is off to a great start as a sire. All those people that say Bob Baffert doesn't train great sires, I guess they never heard of Justify or McKinsey. Uh, but that's all nonsense anyway. Chance McPatrick, I think, has no problem with 2 turns and no problem stretching out. And I'll tell you why. Because usually off the pace 1 turn horses I shy away from when they first stretch out. But if you watch Chance McPatrick run, to me, okay, to my eye, he shuts down completely, takes kickback. He's not struggling to keep up. He's just relaxing and waiting for the cue and galloping along. And when he gets that cue, he inhales horses, passes horses, takes kickback, can go around horses. And when you can relax early, then generally speaking, you have that same kick when you stretch out to that 2nd turn, which sometimes takes the kick away from closers and off the pace horses when they go that 2nd turn. So Chance McPatrick definitely looks like he's coming in, even though I think the main goal with him is the first Saturday in May. Uh, he just may be, a cut above these, especially if East Avenue gets a lot of company on the front end and doesn't get that same walk the dog kind of trip. And let me tell you, a lot of people are jumping off the Ferocious bandwagon because he lost 2 races. I disagree. I think he was very, very good first time out. I think he did not have the best of trips in both those 2 losses. I think those are both the kind of races that he would have gotten a lot out of. And I think the trip and scenario is going to be a lot different on Breeders' Cup Day. So I wouldn't be one of the people jumping off the ferocious bandwagon based on what I saw just yet. But that's just me and my opinion. But I think he is a nice horse, and it's interesting that uh, Restrepo and his team were able to come up with Mage, and now able to come up with another nice one back to back like that. So you know, impressive. So we'll take a quick break, and we'll be back and wrap up these last couple of races and some other tidbits and see where we go. Tracking trips at Past the Wire, no matter what your level of play is. People play the horses for all types of reasons: the action, the excitement, the thrill, the challenge. Some, believe it or not, even play expecting to lose. Me, I don't have that problem. I play to win and take down scores and have been doing it successfully for a long time. This is the life I've chosen. Don't go into battle alone. I do that. And you can have me and Tracking Trips as your second set of eyes. You can be a better. Let's win this fight. Patience, discipline, like a cobra, ready to strike at the right time. When we win, we celebrate, and we celebrate hard, because the rewards make all of it worth it. Nobody does it better. All right. If you're not a Tracking Trips member, I don't know why. You got to hate money, because it's a lot of fun. We're the best clan in racing. We have a lot of fun, and it pays. It pays. No question about it. What I like to say about Tracking Trips: your second set of eyes, be a better, and go to the testimonials page on Past the Wire and see what other people say. Don't listen to what I say. See what they say, because in this case, they know. Sometimes they don't know. Sometimes they do. In this case, they know. Breeders' Cup Turf Sprint. A lot of horses on the list. Who jumps out? Everybody's going to say Cogburn, the fastest horse in the world, who, if you remember, not last year, the year before, had a nice 7-1 on the turf. Tracking Trips, Past the Wire TV, the day we killed them with White Barrio, Cogburn, White Beam. I don't even know how many winners we had. All big prices and all won. Cogburn was one of them. We were on him before anybody. He's the one going to jump out. Never been at Del Mar. That's a concern for me. He runs very hard. That's a concern for me. Cogburn is a horse that, as much as I loved him that day, I think could be a little bit vulnerable in this Breeders' Cup Turf Sprint. There's a lot of horses in here that on their best day are capable of winning. Star of Mystery, the filly, we all saw the trip that she had at Keeneland the other day, where she was dead last, shuffled back, and I don't want to say weaving through, because Pratt didn't really have to weave through, but she had to come straight down between horses the whole way, was really making up a lot of ground with a better trip, no question. She wins that race. She was the best horse in that race. Very eligible to bounce back. Hub Best can definitely handle a horse like Cogburn. There's, in my opinion, ways to go in here. Uh, the California horses like Notorious, Johnny Padre is. I don't dismiss those kind of horses. A lightly raced horse like Howard Wallowitz, who we another tracking trips past the wire TV score. Uh, I don't know. First piece, dangerous. Cogburn, short price, big invasion. We all know the stories and the trouble trips with big invasion. Uh, I don't know. I don't think this race is a free square or gimme by any stretch of the imagination. Uh, and Cogburn is probably going to be one of the shorter price horses on the card. I would imagine. I'm not really all that into odds projecting, but he's going to be, a very, very, very well respected horse. Now, the Breeders' Cup Turf. I don't know if I'm going to get lucky here or not, but we got a lot of horses that are looking at this race, and the one I'm hoping comes is the one that I spoke about early in the year. Uh, First time he hit the racetrack at Tipperary in Ireland, I said right on the channel, this horse is going to win Group Ones. He is a Group One winner, and that's Los Angeles. Uh, I'm hoping he comes for the Breeders' Cup. Now, he lost the blue stocking in the Arc for sure, but he set all the pace that day in the Arc. And the Arc is a tough race to go wire to wire in. And getting back onto a firm turf course and a hard turf course at Del Mar with that bottom building race in him and not having to deal with his stablemate City of Troy, who is running in the Classic. Uh, I think if Los Angeles comes out of that arc after setting the pace in that race, that was the kind of race that would really set a horse up well. And I don't think he'll be on the lead. I won't mind it if he is, but I don't think that he'll necessarily be on the lead in the Breeders' Cup Turf if he comes. I think he'll be sitting second, third, fourth in the pocket with Ryan, uh, ready to punch. And I'm excited about him. I hope he comes. Again, this is an early look. Uh, Rebels Romance, who, if you watch the channel, gave out when he won the Breeders' Cup right on the TV, past the wire TV, tracking trips, Rebels Romance, uh, Breeders' Cup winner that we gave out. So uh, join the seminar, watch the channel, subscribe, hit the like button, show some love and support. We love you all, even our haters. Another horse that's going to be under the radar is Shakir, the Japan horse, who runs really all over the world. Uh, so I probably shouldn't even call him a Japan horse because he's been everywhere. But uh, that horse, that horse could have beat August Rodin with a better trip in the Breeders' Cup. What was that, last year, whenever it was? Got a terrible, terrible trip. So keep that in mind. That's another under the radar horse that's going to be a big, 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 big price. And I'm hoping that they keep Christian Demuro on him. He didn't ride him last time in Japan, but I'm hoping they put him back on because he's the one that rode him in that Breeders' Cup and didn't get him the best trip. So I'm hoping they put him back and he gets a little chance at some redemption. Let's see what races we missed. I think we got them all. We got the Turf Sprint. Did we get the Breeders' Cup Sprint? Let me see. No, we didn't. We'll close out with that one because I don't want to take too much time. This was just a little, what I would like to say, glimpse. By definition, a glimpse is just just a glimpse. So let's take a last look at a last race, Breeders' Cup Sprint at Del Mar. Well, definitely an interesting race. Raging Torrent jumps out. I've been high on him a long time. Beat the Chosen Vron. Not easy to do. Prince of Monaco is going to get his trip one of these days. I'm very curious to see who winds up on him in the Breeders' Cup Sprint, if that's where he goes instead of the mile. Skelly, I think, that everybody thought was unbeatable, has now shown that he's vulnerable. Speedboat Beach, you better pay attention if he shows up, because he can win fresh, no question about it. Those are some that jump out and jump the other way as well. So with all of that said, we got a lot to digest and talk about over the next couple of weeks, a lot to watch. We got horses coming in fresh. We got horses coming in off races. We got a few more weeks, a few more days anyway of Keeneland. And then the focus really starts to shift into watching how these horses train. Another thing that I will do is I'll tune out all the public trainer comments. Everybody's going to tell you how good their horse is doing until they got to scratch it. If they don't got to scratch, they're going to tell you how good the horse is doing. Nobody's going to tell you the horse is, I wish he would have worked a little better. I wish he didn't have an abscess on his foot. I wish he didn't have to get a tooth pulled. I wish he didn't have a this or that, whatever the case may be. There's a million things that are happening with these horses that we never know nothing about. I tune all of that out. We'll be up there a week in advance. If there's something worth knowing that's not good, where are you going to hear it? You're going to hear it here. Nobody else will tell you. Even the reporters don't tell you. You know, they tell you which way the wind's blowing, who had a bath, who looked south when they were getting a bath, who looked north, who rolled into hay, who was grazing. We'll tell you what we see and what we think, and not what, necessarily you just want to hear. So ride with us and Amwager and SureBet Coffee, Spendthrift Farm, and all our other sponsors through the Breeders' Cup, and we'll see if we can carry the ball. So, with all of that, I would like to thank you all for watching this show. I hope it lit some fire, because if the fire doesn't get lit for the Breeders' Cup, what are you doing in this game? If you don't have a seat at the seminar, I don't know why. You need one. Get one. The Breeders' Cup Past the Wire seminar. Get a spot. Definitely. SureBet Coffee. Get some. Breakaway Bold. New Blend. Auction. The Bridge Sanctuary. Help horses. Help the horses. It's important. They need it. A lot of good work gets done there. Horses that never would have been saved are getting saved. Let's help a little bit as we can. With that, thank you all. PastTheWire.com. You can join the seminar. You can join Tracking Trips. You can see all kinds of great stuff. And check out the testimonials page. If you want to know what they say, that's what they say. Thanks again. And I guess ciao for now.
Solomini, a top 10 first crop sire in 2023, standing at McMahon of Saratoga. 14 first crop winners, including My Shady Lady, winner of the $500,000 New York Stallion Series Fifth Avenue Stakes, Grade 2 winner Winstock, and Stakes winner Solo Shot. Solomini, the 7th leading freshman sire and the only top 10 freshman sire with a Grade 1 or Grade 2 winner. He sired a $700,000 2-year-old at the OBS April sale. His juveniles sold for nearly 6 figures on average, more than 12 times the stud fee. Solomini, a controversial DQ from being a Grade 1 winner by 2-time Horse of the Year Curlin, standing at McMahon of Saratoga Thoroughbreds.
Jackie's Warrior quickly in front here by 2 lengths. Here comes Jackie's Warrior up the inside to take over the lead from Life is Good. And Jackie's Warrior remains undefeated here at Saratoga, and he wins an unprecedented Grade 1 stakes at the Spa for the third straight season.
Nobody does it better.